So Shawn Ford, the Purchase Line School District, joins us this morning. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Shawn, good morning. There you go. Good morning again.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us. You're at ICTC right now, huh?
Yes, we just had a meeting and just ended, so I'm actually still sitting at the table.
There you go. There you go. Well, it's good that you're able to take some time and be with us today. School board met last night. I want to talk, first of all, about the change to the health and safety protocol. These plans are in constant need of update because the directives come down and circumstances change, and you made a bit of a change last night. Yes,
we naturally... Everyone's probably heard that the PA Supreme Court ruled on Friday, so the mask mandate now reverts back to our health and safety plan, which originally in our health and safety plan, masks were optional. That was a choice made by the parents and students. And so part of some of the guidance that came out and we heard last week enabled us to look at our quarantines. One of the concerns when you take the mask off is that the quarantines tend to go up. And so we looked at some of our numbers from last year when that had happened, and we had a lot more. And so we were concerned about keeping kids in school. So the change from last night at the board meeting is basically a policy referred to as mask to stay. If a student is a close contact of someone with COVID-19, they're showing no symptoms, they would put the mask back on for the 10 days in school days. And then during that time, as long as they're not showing any symptoms, they can be back in the classroom. Now, the reason we feel like we can do that successfully is because we have good social distancing in our schools. We try to maintain the 6 feet of social distancing as much as possible. 3 feet is kind of our rule. And so we feel like, and if you look at some of the research out there, schools are not a high transferability place. And if we went back, looked at all of our statistics, and so shared that with the board, and that's the new policy that came into place, Todd.
Yeah, and you know what? With the season of the year that it is, in any other year as well, cold and flu season and those types of things that get passed from one person to another. Because of the pandemic hitting last year, people have learned to be more careful about sharing things, about keeping their distance from each other, and we're a more disciplined society, aren't we?
I believe that, and that's not to say that we have our challenges. Lunch is always a challenge. There's certain classes that are challenging, but for the most part, you do see kids and even adults. It was funny walking into the meeting this morning. We all wore our mask into the meeting. I mean, it's everybody, and everybody can choose what they can do. We feel that it should be a local decision. We're supportive of that. And so that's where we're at. And so I would agree with that statement, though, that people are disciplined. People are learning basically to live with the virus and colds and everything else. So absolutely, Todd.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to other matters. The school board last night also adopting the budget resolution to not go above the index, but also stating that it is not their intention, if they can avoid it, to raise property taxes at all. And that would be a good thing from a resident's standpoint, but it also is a general indication that the school district is being a pretty good steward of the funds that they have.
Yes, that's definitely our intention, and we want to. And as we get into our budgetary processes, the state releases the subsidy, and we understand it a little bit better. Right now we don't have a lot of information, but no, I believe that we're managing our expenses. We're constantly looking at that, constantly looking at our revenue side, and even the ARP money. We have a plan. We'll be posting that actually our plan on the website here, probably beginning of the year in January. We talked about that. We did a community survey about where people would like to see us spend some of that money. So, we're trying to be good stewards with that too. We had some construction that we were potentially looking at, but with the supply problems and with the companies, and we're going to back off of that temporarily, and hopefully maybe look at that down the road when some of these things alleviate in society, because it's a real problem right now. And the prices are sky high compared to where they were 2 years ago.
Yeah, nonetheless, there are some technology things that need your attention, and I know there were some of those items on the agenda last night, including better connectivity between the high school and the elementary building, getting some of the other connection fiber issues dealt with as well. And those things can't be put off, can they?
No, that's and the E-rate funding is there for that, so it's an 80-20 plan. And so we're going to go out to bid with that and see where that ends up and see. But it's a good plan. Each school receives so much of the money, and so we'll write that and we'll see where that lands. But no, we're planning on adding new fiber both between the schools and then at the high school, rewiring in there. So we constantly want to be ahead of the game on that. It's just, that's not changing. Technology is constantly advancing, so we want to make sure that we're well equipped not only right now, but for 5-10 years down the road also.
Shawn Ford joins us. He's the superintendent of the Purchase Line School District. Last night, the board met dealing with a number of different items. I want to talk about what's going on educationally within the school. We've talked to you earlier in the fall about an exciting initiative educationally, and that is the offerings through charter school opportunities and the Red Dragon Foundation, and just a progress report, if you would, on how some of those things are going.
Sure, Todd. One of the things that we are seeing in the schools, and I believe this would be most schools, we're definitely seeing an increase in social emotional learning issues, getting kids back reacclimated. That's what people, we were so, from being out of school to being in hybrid schedules, we got out of those routines, Todd, right? Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that's really cropped up here in this first semester is trying to reestablish those procedures and routines for students, which to me is all part of that whole social emotional process. And so that's been something that we're dealing with right now. We still have the cyber offering. We have some students taking advantage of that. Excited. Yesterday was our first day for our new director of curriculum and innovation, Mrs. Jessica Lindsay, coming on board, and she's doing an audit of basically everything that we're doing at the school. It's one of her first tasks, and kind of we're gonna kind of inventory and audit and look at it from a perspective of looking at the data, like what's working, what's not working, where do we need to improve, knowing that technology is going to be a big part of that. And so we're excited about having her, and we're excited about hearing her report here probably in February to kind of give us an update on that. So. Yeah. Within
the school halls, of course, I'm sure kids are all excited about the coming holiday and the holiday break, and everybody's looking forward to that, teachers as well. But still some work to do between now and the beginning of the break, but I bet you things are pretty peppy right now.
Especially at the elementary school. The elementary, the kids, it's just it's a whole different vibe this time of the year when you walk into the elementary school. The kids are excited. The Santa hats are being worn, and different. The kids are wearing their shirts, and it's just they're excited that you walk into the school. They say, Santa's coming, Mr. Ford. They're coming, and so it's a whole different vibe this time of the year. It's a nice place to walk in. High school tends to be more business as usual. We're getting into the winter sports here, starting here in the last week. So, yes, it's a good time in school systems for sure. Yeah, absolutely. A little concentration problem maybe, but that's all right too, isn't it? No doubt. Yeah, I'm sure if you interview a few of our teachers, they might tell you a different story than the superintendent tells you. That does lead to a serious question, though. When we think about students and where they are this year as opposed to where they would typically be in terms of, here we are at the beginning of a school year and we have these expectations. Are they meeting the expectations that were established at the beginning of the year, or is there any bit of a lag that the pandemic might have created? Yeah, we're definitely a lag. We'll know more. We did some testing right at the end of last year, beginning of this year, and then we'll do another set in end of January, 1st of February, and then we'll analyze that, and we're trying to pinpoint, what students need. But we're definitely seeing that. We've seen an increase in students that we're trying to help. We were trying to do more of a one-to-one approach of what their needs might be. And we have our what's called our MTSS process, where we're trying to really personalize what students need. But we definitely seeing a lag in the learning. It's real. What you read in the papers is real. And I could probably answer better that question once we see all the data. We want to make sure we have good data points, and we wanted to have 3 different data points to determine where we're at there. So we're definitely looking at that, though, Todd, and it's definitely real, and we're definitely seeing it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you're also, since you know that it's there, you're developing some sort of an action plan, or maybe even already have one completely in place.
Yes, well, we had put in an MTSS at the beginning of the year. We hired a coordinator. We hired 2 interventionists. And then, of course, we have our psychologist, our social worker. So we did have a plan going forward, and naturally, we're going to adjust based upon on what the data is showing us and what we're seeing from kids. Sometimes you got to look beyond data, and you got to see what's going on with a child in that classroom. More of a looking at them and seeing what's happening. But no, we definitely had a plan. We were prepared for it. And we're trying to work that plan. I think we are working that plan, but we know we're constantly meeting, constantly tweaking. And like I said, Mrs. Lindsay is going to bring another set of eyes to that too.
He's Shawn Ford, the superintendent, Purchase Line School District. Appreciate your time here this morning. I know that it's a very, very busy time for you and for everybody in your kind of a position. So I really do appreciate it, and thank you.
Well, thanks, Todd, and wish everyone happy holidays out there, and and everyone spending time, and hopefully they can get together with family a little more than they have in the past. And so I'd just like to wish everyone happy holidays for sure.
Absolutely, and let's all be safe.
Okay, sounds good, Todd. You guys be safe too.
There's Shawn Ford. Thanks so much. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.